San Mateo Police Department today has arrested a person who is responsible for detonating explosive devices on school grounds on August 24, 2009 at 8:07 hours this morning.
Hello, my name is Jeff Gilbert. I'm the lead principal at Hillsdale High School.
My name is Danielle Flores. I am a math teacher.
Hi, I'm Ms. Sanchez. I'm an English teacher at Hillsdale High School, and this is my recollection of what happened on Monday, August 24th, 2009.
It was obviously a very chaotic day.
The lights went out, the power went out, and I thought, well, that's strange. I'll go to the main office, or I'll call the main office, but then the phone lines didn't work. So then I stepped outside my classroom, and the intruder was preparing himself outside of my classroom.
I had no knowledge of what had happened. I really did, as a teacher, think it was a fire alarm.
I looked at him and I made eye contact with him, and then I saw that he had this really long sword, and I said, "What are you doing?"
And I received a phone call. The teacher, who's no longer here, called and was frantic and said, "Somebody's in the hall, somebody's in the hall." It heard an explosion, and it was loud enough to sort of shake, rattle the building. It was clearly something was wrong.
I exited and I saw Jonna in the courtyard, and I told Jonna Torres, our security person, there's this guy and he had a hood on earlier and he had a guitar case and he was sitting outside my classroom, and now he's putting on a vest and he has a sword. And she looked at me and said, "A sword?" And she goes, "Oh my God."
I came up to the grassy area, and there was tall grass, and Mr. Santana was in the grass holding on to somebody, and I was startled. I couldn't figure out what was happening. And then he said something to me, and I realized that he had actually taken the person with the bomb down, and I went over and I held on to him. I climbed on, so I was on one side and Mr. Santana was on the other side, and we held him down. And he had detonated the bomb. He had actually thrown it down the hallway and gotten under the legs of our campus aide. And the young man brought a guitar case and had a chainsaw in it and like a sword and a mask, and then he had 12 bombs on his chest.
Stevenson and I we basically barricaded ourselves in the men's bathroom.
And we were down by the baseball diamond with students.
And then there was like a SWAT team there, and at that point I just like fell apart.
We evacuated the school. Most of the school went over to Abbott, and that's where we had lined them up and by advisory, and then we made communications out to the families, and then families came to the school at Abbott, and we checked the students out and left.
When we were informed, we could not get to our classrooms or our cars. None of the faculty or teachers were able to get to their cars. Most of us left everything in our classrooms, so I didn't have a phone, didn't have keys. I had to borrow a construction worker's phone and have my parents come pick me up.
We saw helicopters, we saw, heard sirens.
The communication wasn't super good. People didn't really know what was happening.
I think one of the biggest changes since 2009 to today is in the coordination and early identification. So I think that the police department and the school district are working really, really closely now.
It has been improved. The reason is that we now have an email communication system. We have walkie-talkies.
There are multiple modes in which we can now communicate that helps me feel more secure about what's happening.
And then in a lot of the houses, the teachers within a particular phone tree have exchanged cell phone numbers, so that if the phones go down, if the computers, the wireless goes down, we can communicate with each other on cell phone to check in.
And again, you as a student don't see all that work. We hope you never see it, because we're trying to handle it before it becomes a threat. And I think we've gotten a lot better at that.